From Wish TV and the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8 Podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update.
Hi, this is Kylie Conway, and this is your News 8 Daily 8 for Wednesday, November 16th. More snow chances are in play for today in the afternoon and evening hours. Could be a few snow squalls. Those are intense snow bands that develop and reduce visibilities by a bit. So be careful during the evening commute. If you get caught in an intense snow band, it can make it a little hard to see. Highs are only set to get into the upper mid-30s as a breeze out of the west with cloud cover holds temperatures down a bit.
In order to make America great and glorious again, I am tonight announcing my candidacy for President of the United States.
Former President Donald Trump is bearing his Make America Great Again slogan as he launches a third campaign for the White House. Trump made the announcement last night at his Mar-a-Lago estate. He enters the race just 1 week after a disappointing midterm showing for Republicans.
Much criticism is being placed on the fact that the Republican Party should have done better, and frankly, much of this blame is correct. But the citizens of our country have not yet realized the full extent and gravity of the pain our nation is going through, and the total effect of the suffering is just starting to take hold. They don't quite feel it yet, but they will very soon.
Trump may face a crowded Republican field that could include Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and former Vice President Mike Pence. Trump's daughter Ivanka did not attend last night's announcement. She later released a statement saying she does not plan to be involved in her father's campaign. Indianapolis Mayor Joe Hogsett says his eyes are on the future as he launches a third and final run for mayor. Hogsett announced last night that he wants to continue implementing many of his major policies, like the violence reduction plan throughout Indianapolis and Marion County. He faced criticism over that plan and the city's crime rate. In response, Hogsett's campaign touted a 16% pay increase for new police officers and new mental health programs. Hogsett says he wants to use public-private partnerships to reverse the sluggish recovery of downtown business, and he says he'll also fight to keep partisanship out of city government. So far, no Republican mayor candidates have emerged. Now, Democrat State Representative Robin Shackelford is responding to Hogsett's run for mayor. She announced her campaign for the position last week. In a statement to News 8, she says, in part, "I welcome the exchange of ideas that the coming months of the campaign will bring. As I said when I announced my candidacy, I am running for mayor because I am the right person to address the issues facing Indianapolis that have not been solved in the past 8 years. Issues such as tackling root causes of crime, creating a world-class workforce, prioritizing diversity, equity, and inclusion, and increasing transportation connectivity and infrastructure." Carmel City Councilor Sue Finkum is launching a campaign for Carmel mayor. The Republican has been on the council for 10 years and has served as president, vice president, and finance chair. Finkum said a statement to News 8 about the announcement. She says, in part, "Make no doubt about it, this race is for the future of Carmel. We have an incredible community, and we need to elect the right leader to keep Carmel a special place to live, work, raise a family, and retire. I am well equipped to be that leader and welcome this challenge to take Carmel to the next level." And Carmel police say the man who shot and killed his wife before turning the gun on himself is getting treatment at a local hospital. It happened Saturday morning at a home on Johnson Drive just off East 136th Street. Police say it started as a welfare check. When officers arrived, they found 63-year-old Susan Shaw dead and 79-year-old John Shaw with what appeared to be a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Investigators think it was likely a murder attempted suicide. No criminal charges have been announced. IT-Mate is digging into documents that shed new light on a semi-driver charged in a hockey team bus crash. Newly released court documents show Victor Santos had a blood alcohol content of 0.13 when he was booked into the Kosciuszko County Jail. Officers say he stumbled out of the cab of his semi minutes after hitting the bus on Saturday night. The documents show 2 other drivers told investigators Santos was driving erratically before the crash. Santos now faces 26 felony charges, 1 for every passenger on board. According to St. Ignatius College Prep, 2 of the hockey players are still in the hospital with serious injuries. The probable cause affidavit for the case shows that Santos is also a registered sex offender in New York State and that Santos was convicted of raping a minor in 1999. The Indianapolis Public School Board holds its final discussion on its Rebuilding Stronger proposal ahead of tomorrow's final vote. As we've reported, the plan reconfigures some schools and rezones the district. The board is proposing a one-time $410 million capital referendum and a $50 million operational referendum. IPS Superintendent Alicia Johnson says this means taxpayers with an average home value would pay about $6 more a month. If the board approves the proposal tomorrow, the earliest the referendums could be on the ballot would be the 2023 May primaries. Republican leader Kevin McCarthy has won the nomination for House Speaker. Now he faces a weeks-long fight against Republican objections before a final vote. McCarthy beat conservative challenger Representative Andy Biggs in a 188-31 vote yesterday. The vote was secret, meaning he only needed a simple majority. In order to become Speaker, he needs support from at least 218 lawmakers. Republicans are just one seat away from the 218 needed to gain control of the House, leaving McCarthy just a few votes to spare. Congress will vote on leadership when it convenes in January. House Republicans are electing Minnesota Representative Tom Emmer to be House Majority Whip. His win ends a close race with Indiana Representative Jim Banks and Georgia Representative Drew Ferguson. The race was decided on the second ballot in a 115-106 vote between Emmer and Banks. Ferguson was knocked out in the first round of voting. Banks congratulated Emmer in a statement after the elections. It reads, "Congratulations to Kevin McCarthy, Steve Scalise, Tom Emmer, Elise Stefanik, and the entire House Republican leadership team. While we fell short in our campaign for whip, I promise I will continue to be a conservative fighter in the Congress. During past majorities, House Republicans have failed to deliver on our commitments. Next Congress, I will do everything I can to make sure Republicans keep our promises and advance a conservative and America First agenda. Our voters deserve a party that keeps its promises." And the mayor of Uvalde, Texas, is vowing to remove, by the end of the week, a leader in the city's police department. It comes after a CNN report found Lieutenant Mariano Pargas knew children at Robb Elementary School were trapped with the shooter, but didn't organize help. According to the report, Pargas contacted his dispatchers to get the details of a 911 call from a student trapped in a classroom, but didn't take command. Pargas has been on administrative leave since July, 2 months after the massacre that killed 19 students and 2 teachers. Mayor Don McLaughlin says Pargas should have been gone sooner. McLaughlin says the city has justification to fire Pargas if he chooses not to resign. Poland's president says a deadly missile blast in the country appears to be an unfortunate accident. He says there's no sign of a deliberate attack. That echoes President Biden's message yesterday, saying it's unlikely the missile was fired from within Russia. The blast prompted Biden to call an emergency meeting of G7 and NATO leaders. A deliberate hostile attack on a NATO member like Poland could trigger a military response. The AP cites 3 anonymous U.S. officials who say it looks like Ukrainian forces fired a missile at an incoming Russian missile. The Polish Foreign Ministry, however, describes the missile as Russian-made and says it's raising its level of military preparedness. The Kremlin has denied any involvement in the explosion. And now from iTeam 8, families may find it hard to get help paying for heat this winter. Organizations that offer assistance warn they may not have enough. An IU study says 30% of people in the state had to put off other expenses to pay utility bills during the pandemic, and energy prices are rising. The Salvation Army offers aid, but warns of a shortfall. If you need help, we've made it easy for you to find some resources. Go to wishtv.com and then click in the As Seen On section of our website where you can find this story. Artemis 1 is making its way to the moon right now. The rocket launched at 1:47 this morning. The launch comes after multiple delays due to technical issues and bad weather. It's expected to log roughly 1.3 million miles, farther than any other spacecraft designed for human flight has traveled. That's all according to NASA. After orbiting the moon, it will make its return trip with a scheduled splashdown in the Pacific Ocean off the coast of San Diego set for December 11th. NASA will then evaluate the rocket's performance to determine if it's ready to support its first crewed mission. That mission is currently scheduled for 2024. All right, to business headlines now. Walmart says sales are up as richer Americans are looking for food deals. Walmart is a bellwether of consumer spending, particularly on groceries, which account for more than half of its sales. Recent surveys signal a possible shift in attitudes about tips. One survey from Pop Menu, a restaurant tech company, found a decline in the percentage of consumers who say they tip 20% or more in restaurants. Another survey from Play USA found that 60% of Americans said they would like to do away with tipping altogether. Many Americans said they were tipping less due to rising costs. A Fed study says rising mortgage rates could tank home prices by 20%. They believe as interest rates rise to 7%, that will reduce the amount of homes Americans can afford, so they'll look for lower-priced homes. A record 104,000 Americans missed work in October due to childcare problems, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. The record figure was driven by many children falling sick to COVID, the flu, or RSV. Missing work could have serious financial impacts for workers without paid sick leave. Sam's Club undercuts Costco with a $1.38 deal for a hot dog and a soda combo. The move bests Costco's price of $1.50 for its hot dog and soda deal that we know is extremely popular. And the Indiana Farm Bureau says it will cost more for a Thanksgiving feast this year. The group's annual estimate looks at the total for all of the staples to feed 10 people. It pegs the price this year at $61, about $7.50 more than last year. Turkey is up 11%, stuffing more than 60%, sweet potatoes nearly 17%, and pumpkin pie filling more than 20%. The Bureau says reasons range from supply chain disruptions and the war in Ukraine to bird flu, which led to the loss of 8 million turkeys across the country. And 1,000 mink may be roaming the countryside just outside Fort Wayne. The owner of a mink farm just across the state line in Van Wert, Ohio, says someone broke in, spray-painted messages, and destroyed fences, letting 25,000 to 40,000 of the tiny animals free. He says the staff managed to corral many of them, but that at least 1,000 are still missing. The sheriff says many have died in traffic. He urges anyone who sees the animals not to approach them and to contact the farm or trappers instead. No one has claimed responsibility for it, but investigators say some of the graffiti says ALF. They think that could be a reference to the Animal Liberation Front. And finally, you can help the Moselle Sanders Foundation feed 15,000 families on Thanksgiving. A $20 donation will provide for a family of 4. You can donate by texting Moselle, that's M-O-Z-E-L, to 317-633-9113. You can also donate online. We have a link for you at wishtv.com. This has been your News 8 Daily 8 for Wish TV. I'm Kylie Conway. Online at wishtv.com and follow us on Facebook when you search Wish TV.
This is the News 8 Daily 8 podcast with Wish TV's Kylie Conway. A Wish TV News 8 update on demand. For even more, on demand and on the go. Connect with Wish TV on Facebook at wishtv.com and on the free Wish TV mobile app. Thank you for listening, and be sure to like, subscribe, and follow this podcast for updates every weekday morning on the All Indiana Podcast Network and wherever you get your podcast.